Welcome to Ranomafana National Park. This habitat is an interactive, walk-through only home for red-ruffed and ring-tailed lemurs. It comfortably holds a conspiracy of 60 lemurs, with room to spare for another species or two if any become available in the future. I know I would love to see sifakas frolicking around in here too. Although named after the most centrally located of the national parks that inspired this habitat, neither of the species contained in this exhibit are found wild in the park. I'll explain more once we're inside. I'm excited to show you around. Let's go in and check it out. We begin our tour on a remote peninsula on the northeastern edge of the island. This is Masoala National Park. Masoala is a dense tropical rainforest and the only home of the red-ruffed lemur on the whole island of Madagascar. The red-ruffed lemurs in Masoala live alongside 9 other lemur species in the park. There are only 2 species in the ruffed lemur genus. Interestingly, hybridization is possible between the 2 species. It occurs rarely in the wild these days as deforestation has decreased their overlap range. But scientists believe the natural hybridization zone was once quite large. There are at least 2 ruffed lemur hybrids currently in captivity. If Planet Zoo ever adds black and white ruffed lemurs to the game, I hope they include a hybridization breeding mechanic. I definitely want tricolored lemurs. This area is one of my favorites in the whole habitat, and the lemurs agree. They seem to come here often for a drink and to toss that ball around. Watch the vines closely and you'll see a silly ring-tailed lemur glitch that seems to occur quite frequently. I love it when they run on their hands with their feet in the air. Masoala is the largest protected area in Madagascar, at 2,400 square kilometers. This huge habitat is only 3,000 square meters. The Tanala people have long been inhabitants of the forest of Ranomafana. When a loved one passes, they erect a standing stone in their memory. These stones have been placed here in honor of those who've gone before us. Fun fact, ruffed lemurs are the only lemurs to have litters of offspring. Litter size ranges from 1 to 6. Unlike other primates, which typically only have 2 teats, ruffed lemurs have 6, which seems to be rather unique in the animal world. We've now officially entered the Ranomafana section of the habitat. Ranomafana National Park was created in 1991 to protect the golden bamboo lemur, which was unknown to science until 1986. In addition to golden bamboo lemurs, 9 other species can be found within the park. Jonah's mouse lemur, the most recently discovered lemur species, was identified as a new species in 2020 through DNA testing. Describing the new species required contributions from a team of 29 scientists from 6 countries. It's amazing how you can transform things in this game. This was one of those hideous water pipes. I'm also really happy with how the blend of mossy and tropical rocks on the rock wall to the left of it turned out. We're coming up on another favorite of mine. While building this habitat, I almost gave up. The lemurs stress out way too easily. I read a bunch of forums and someone suggested making it so they don't need to cross the path, and the prosimian bridges were built. More stressed lemurs. The notifications were driving me crazy, so I built this cute little hidden shelter which is only a few steps away from the ramp to the bridge. When finishing the last of the undergrowth fill, I'll admit I got lost in my own habitat. I had to put up signs so I knew where I was going. We're almost in maki territory now, and no, we haven't suddenly gone to Japan for sushi. Maki is the term the Madagascar people use for ring-tailed lemurs. This section of the habitat was inspired by Anja Community Reserve. It is marked by sandy, rocky terrain and fewer trees than the rest of the exhibit. The Telomira-Havavi Mountains in Anja have many natural caves. There's a cave shelter hidden at the base of this cliff. It's one of the most frequently used shelters in the habitat. Anja Community Reserve is a woodland area at the base of a large cliff and is home to the largest concentration of wild ring-tailed lemurs. Due to their environment, maki spend more time on the ground than most other lemur species. Although there is a waterfall on this cliff, there is no real water source. The waterfall effect empties into a water pipe hidden in the rocks at the bottom. A treatment facility is not required. Lemurs spend so much time grooming each other they have evolved some pretty useful adaptations. They have a grooming claw on their index fingers, a tooth comb for cleaning their fur, and oddly enough, a stiff second tongue called the sublingua, used for cleaning dirt out of their tooth combs. Anja was designated a protected area in 1999. At this time, community parks and reserves were being established to protect natural resources and to empower Malagasy people with rights to their lands and the benefits of ecotourism. The site has been managed by the local community since 2001. As both a nature reserve and a growing town, it is a prime example of how humans and nature can coexist and flourish. It has become the most visited community-managed forest and ecotourism site in Madagascar, and has had a positive impact on both the natural environment and the people in the community. The buildings in this habitat were modeled after Sedum Lodge in Ranomafana. The cream fronts and dark roof trims are made of flammable materials. There are 3 bungalows and 1 main lodge within the habitat. This is the second Prosimian Bridge. Elevated crossings, combined with lots of shelters and tons of screening plants, definitely help reduce stress levels. My lemurs get stressed occasionally, but it never lasts long, unless they're sleeping and don't want to wake up. Prosimian literally means pre-monkey. Lemurs are the oldest form of primate, appearing in the fossil record about 55 million years ago. In comparison, Old World monkeys like mandrills didn't appear until 34 million years ago, with apes even more recently at 23 million years ago. Hominids like us have only been around for about 5 to 8 million years. This habitat was built in franchise mode and is quite profitable, even with a large troop of animals. The zoo currently has a 3-star education rating, with only this one exhibit and a few conservation boards at the habitat entrances. It has a species education rating ranging from 16 to 20% without any advanced research being done. There are 4 education talk points, scheduled once every 3 months, many educational speakers, and 8 education boards within the exhibit. The habitat has approximately 3,000 square meters of traversable space and 1,250 meters of climbable structures and flora. With trees and undergrowth, the overall plant coverage is 93% and it's fully lit for great viewing at night. The crime rates are also low as the habitat is fully covered by security cameras, most of which are hidden well. It also has full coverage of do not disturb and do not feed signs hidden throughout the exhibit. Fun fact, most lemurs carry their infants around on their backs everywhere they go, even into a turf war if they must. Ruffed lemurs, with their large litters, build nests for their young instead of carrying a small troop of babies around on their backs all day long. Could you imagine the poor mothers if they didn't? The same materials as the lodge and bungalows were used on the education board frames. If you get a picture of a lemur climbing on one of these education boards, please share. I'd love to see it. Ranomafana is one of 6 critically important national parks that make up the World Heritage Site Rainforest of the Atsinanana. These sites are absolutely necessary for the survival of Madagascar's biodiversity. Lemurs are primarily arboreal. They have grasping hands and walk on the soles of their feet. They move around by leaping and bounding through the trees and sashaying when on the ground. They can also move around suspended from tree limbs in a manner typical of a sloth. Their tails are longer than their bodies and are not prehensile. They are used to maintain balance and for stink fighting between males. They cannot use them to climb. I love Planet Zoo for making this clip possible. That and perfect timing. It looks like the antics of the Mozart lemur spooks the lemur on the bridge. The behavior animations are perfect and just plain adorable. The toy piano is definitely one of my favorite enrichment items in the game so far. There are 108 different species of lemur, ranging in size from the pygmy mouse lemur at 5 inches in length and weighing less than 2 ounces, to the indri with a head and body length over 2 feet long and weighing in at a whopping 21 pounds. Ranomafana means warm water in Malagasy. The park was named after the many hot springs found there. Fun fact, with their long fur and snouts, ruffed lemurs are excellent pollinators, just like bees. We've come full circle. Masoala is one of the most biodiverse areas in Madagascar. In addition to lemurs, there are 90 species of birds, 60 unique reptiles, 44 types of frogs, 14 species of bat, and 135 different butterflies, just to name a few. This habitat is available on the Steam Workshop. If you're adding this blueprint to your game, I've included a hidden path helper so you can easily determine where to lay the perfect paths inside. If you click on this rock, located at the right Masoala entrance near the waterfall, and drag the group upwards to ground level, path markers will appear for you. I really hope you've enjoyed this tour. Thank you so much for watching.